Yeah, what exactly is a bunion? Everybody's heard of them.
So, and a lot of people have them.
Mm-hmm.
It's a transverse instability, not where you see the bunion, here at the metatarsal medial cuneiform. When someone can't control motion at the foot.
Sort of the junction between the midfoot and the forefoot.
Correct. Then they will start to have this instability. This bone, all a bunion is, by the way, is this bone basically shifting to the outside.
Yeah, so anybody who's seen it will, what you notice is you're looking down at a person's foot and you'll see this huge outpouching in what's otherwise the widest part of the foot. Looks like it just got a whole bunch wider and it's pointing out. But when you see the skeleton, it's much easier to understand why that's happening.
Yeah, so it's this guy going that way.
And a lot of people have these surgically repaired.
Yes.
What are they doing surgically to repair that?
We could talk about this for a long time. Just some facts first with those surgeries, okay? A lot of them are not successful. And I'm not here to, there is a time and a place. There is a time and a place, but I would be very cautious about getting foot surgeries, right, for symptoms. So what they'll do is they can either shave part of the bone down and then realign the toe. And oftentimes they will pin the metatarsal to the cuneiform so they stabilize where most people have that instability. Once you start pinning things together, you might take care of alignment.
Right, but you've done nothing to strengthen the muscle that allowed this to get there.
And, the conversation of my mom has a bunion, my grandma has a bunion, and my response to that is you don't come out of the womb with a bunion. You might inherit connective tissue laxity, for example, or there might be hypermobility issues. But if we know that, just like we talked about with the kids earlier, the earlier interventions, right? You get them in the right footwear. You make sure they're in shoes, right, that have a toe box where the toes can actually splay, especially if you know that your mother has a bunion.
Mm-hmm.
I think what's fascinating about the big toe is if you look at your nail bed, some people that have bunions, the nail bed will be flat and it'll just look like it's adducting. All right. So here's the bunion.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Right. But the nail bed is flat. When you see that, it's typically from footwear. When you see the nail bed and it's actually rotated, because you see some of those people, right, where the nail bed's kind of turned in and it looks like it's a rotational issue.
Yep.
You know for certain they can't control rotation, which is cool because now you're like, okay, one of the reasons I got into all of this was I have bilateral bunions on both of my feet due to the fact that I was constantly in point shoes. And then my solution to that was I'm just going to start bracing my feet because they hurt. So they just got weaker and weaker. And then I was like, this is not right. So we started strengthening them, getting us in the right shoes, and it's different ball game.
And what's a hammer toe while we're at the topic of common pathology?
Yes, so bunion, very common. Hammer toes are basically when the toes start to hammer the ground.
All of them are just 2 through 5?
2 through 5. Okay. The big toe can hammer. It's just not as common as 2 through 5. And this is why. When you look at hammer toes, so this would be the top of my foot. We have extensors, short toe extensors, but we also have long toe extensors. So on the top of the foot, the short toe extensors are doing a lot of work and the long toe extensors are not.
Yeah, this is one of those things where if you're listening to us, this is very difficult to understand. It's why watching what you're saying makes a lot of sense. And again, just so folks understand, the extensors would be pulling back, the flexors would curl forward. And so it seems counterintuitive to say, how can a hammer toe be in part driven by this extensor phenomenon? Well, if the short extensors, the ones that attach with a shorter moment arm, are fired up, and the long ones are relaxed, it actually looks like a hyperflexion.
Yes. And for people who have pain along the bottom of their foot, so along their metatarsals, If you take out your insert of your shoe and you see a lot of wear underneath, like the second or third metatarsal, you know you're probably walking around with too much pressure going through there. So on the bottom of the foot, it's the exact opposite. I have my short flexors that aren't doing anything and my long flexors who are. So hammer toes it's a muscle imbalance due to a weakness in the foot.
And what do you attribute the root of that to? If the bunion seems predisposed, not putting aside genetics and other things like that, but just environmentally, if the predisposing feature of a bunion is shoes that are pushing the big toe in, what is the environmental trigger that is most commonly driving a hammer toe?
I think it's the same thing. I think that we have not been paying attention to our feet for a very long period of time. And if you think about, if you were to walk around with your hands in mittens for 20 years, you shouldn't be surprised when your hands don't function.
Yeah.
I'm Peter Attia. This podcast relies exclusively on premium subscribers for support, which allows us to provide all our content without taking a single penny from advertisers. I believe this keeps my content honest, making it a trusted resource for listeners like you. As a premium member, you'll get immediate access to our entire back catalog of AMA episodes and all future AMA episodes. You'll get longevity-focused premium articles packed with actionable insights. You'll get unrivaled show notes for each and every episode of The Drive, every topic, every study, every resource from each episode carefully curated for you. You'll get quarterly podcast summaries where you'll learn my biggest personal takeaways from the previous 90 days of expert guest episodes and much more. This journey doesn't have to be navigated alone. We can take these steps towards a better, longer life together. Become a premium member today at peterattiamd.com/subscribe to join me in a shared commitment to a healthier future.